Imagine Sarah, a marketing manager about to present a crucial campaign to her company's executives. Despite having all the right data, she notices her audience's eyes glazing over. She decides to change tactics. Instead of listing facts, she begins with a story. 2 months ago, we received a call from a frustrated customer. The room perks up, eyes focus, people lean in. What did Sarah tap into that transformed her presentation? Today, we'll uncover that secret, the power of storytelling in business presentations. Welcome to the Business English Podcast. I'm Rob. In today's episode, we'll explore how storytelling can elevate your business presentations, making them more engaging and impactful. We'll share essential tips and useful phrases to help you master this invaluable skill. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Business English Podcast, helping professionals communicate more effectively, more confidently, and with impact. With your host, Rob, from Energetic English. Let's get down to business. Let's delve into why storytelling matters in business presentations. First, stories engage the audience. They captivate attention, turning passive listeners into active participants. Instead of just presenting facts and figures, weaving them into a narrative keeps your audience interested in what you're saying. Second, stories make your message memorable. Narratives stick in the mind, ensuring your key points aren't forgotten after the presentation ends. By linking important information to a compelling story, you help your audience remember and recall your message later on. Third, storytelling builds emotional connections. Emotions drive decisions, and stories foster a connection that data alone cannot achieve. By tapping into emotions, you create a bond with your audience, making your message more persuasive and impactful. Understanding these benefits highlights the power of storytelling in transforming ordinary presentations into engaging and memorable experiences. Now, let's explore the elements of a good story in a business context. First, a clear structure is crucial. Every compelling story follows a simple framework, a beginning, a middle, and an end. This structure guides your audience smoothly through your message, making it easy to follow and understand. Second, incorporate relatable characters or situations. Your audience should see themselves or their challenges reflected in your story. When people identify with the characters or scenarios, they become more engaged and invested in the outcome. Third, include conflict and resolution. Introduce a challenge or problem and demonstrate how it was overcome. This not only keeps your audience interested, but also highlights your message effectively by showing practical solutions to real issues. Lastly, ensure your story has a relevant message. The narrative should align directly with the purpose of your presentation. Every element of your story should serve to reinforce your main point, keeping your audience focused on the key takeaway. By focusing on these elements, a clear structure, relatable content, conflict and resolution, and a relevant message, you can craft powerful stories that enhance your business presentations and resonate deeply with your audience. Now let's discuss some practical tips for incorporating storytelling into your presentations. First, I think rather obviously, know your audience. Tailor your story to resonate with your listeners' experiences and expectations. Consider their backgrounds, interests, and what matters most to them. When your story aligns with their perspectives, it becomes more engaging and impactful. Second, align your story with your main message. Your narrative should reinforce, not distract from, your key points. Make sure every element of your story serves to highlight the purpose of your presentation, keeping your audience focused on what's important. Third, keep it concise. Be succinct to maintain interest and keep the presentation focused. Avoid unnecessary details that don't contribute to your main message. A well-told, concise story holds attention and delivers your point effectively. Fourth, use vivid language. Descriptive words paint a picture, making your story more engaging. By appealing to the senses, you help your audience visualize the scenario, which enhances understanding and retention. Finally, practice your delivery. Confidence comes from rehearsal. Practice to deliver your story smoothly, paying attention to your tone, pacing, and body language. A well-practiced story comes across naturally and keeps your audience engaged. By applying these tips, knowing your audience, aligning your story with your message, keeping it concise, using vivid language, and practicing your delivery, you can effectively incorporate storytelling into your presentations, making them more compelling and memorable. Now, let's explore some useful phrases for storytelling that you can incorporate into your business presentations. And if you're finding these strategies and techniques useful, we have a professional communication course that includes all these techniques, phrases, and much, much more to help non-native professionals speak more fluently and confidently in any professional scenario that they may face. Check out the description for more details. So, introducing a story. To begin your story and signal to your audience that you're about to share something engaging, you can use phrases like, "Let me tell you a story about." "Let me tell you a story about." "Here's an experience that illustrates my point." "Here's an experience that illustrates my point." "I recall a time when." "I recall a time when." These openings set the stage for your narrative and pique the audience's interest, preparing them to listen attentively. Now, engaging the audience. To draw listeners into the story and make it more relatable, consider using, "Imagine this." "Imagine this." Have you ever faced? Have you ever faced? What would you do if? What would you do if? These phrases encourage the audience to visualize the scenario and connect it to their own experiences, increasing engagement and empathy. So now on to highlighting key moments. When you reach important parts of your story, emphasize them with phrases like, "At that critical moment," "At that critical moment," "What happened next was unexpected." "What happened next was unexpected." "This led us to discover." "This led us to discover." By incorporating these phrases into your storytelling, you make your presentations more dynamic and engaging. They help guide your audience through the narrative, ensuring they remain connected to your message from beginning to end. Now, let's discuss some common mistakes to avoid when incorporating storytelling into your presentations. First, overcomplicating the story. Simplicity is key. As we've said many times on the podcast, this is a fundamental concept for effective professional communication. Avoid unnecessary details that can dilute your message and confuse your audience. Stick to the essential elements that directly support your main point. A straightforward story is more likely to be understood and remembered. Second, using irrelevant anecdotes. Ensure that every part of your story serves to reinforce your main message. Irrelevant details or side stories can distract your audience and weaken the impact of your presentation. Stay focused on narratives that directly relate to your topic. Third, being too informal or too formal. It's important to strike a balance to maintain professionalism while being relatable. If you're too informal, you might come across as unprofessional. If you're too formal, you may seem distant or unengaging. Adjust your tone to suit your audience and the context of your presentation. Fourth, ignoring cultural differences. Be mindful of cultural contexts to ensure your story is appropriate and effective. What resonates in one culture might not in another, and certain topics may be sensitive or misunderstood. Research your audience's cultural background to avoid any potential misunderstandings or offense. By being aware of these common pitfalls, overcomplicating your story, using irrelevant anecdotes, misjudging the level of formality, and ignoring cultural differences, you can refine your storytelling approach. This will help you deliver presentations that are clear, engaging, and impactful. Let's look at some real-life examples of effective storytelling in business presentations. First, consider how Elon Musk shares visions of the future to inspire and engage his audience. When unveiling new products or ideas, he doesn't just present technical specifications, he tells a story about how these innovations will change the world. By painting a vivid picture of the future, he captures the imagination of his listeners, making complex concepts accessible and exciting. Another example is a project manager who used customer testimonials to illustrate the impact of their work. Instead of merely presenting project milestones and statistics, she shared stories from satisfied clients highlighting how the project made a difference in their businesses. This approach personalized the data, making it more relatable and compelling, and resulted in increased stakeholder support. These examples demonstrate how storytelling can transform a presentation. By incorporating narratives that resonate with the audience, you make your message more engaging, memorable, and persuasive. As we wrap up today's episode, let's summarize the key points we've discussed. Incorporating storytelling into your business presentations can transform them from ordinary to extraordinary. Stories engage your audience, making them active participants rather than passive listeners. They make your message memorable, ensuring that your key points stick long after the presentation ends. By building emotional connections through narratives, you tap into the power of emotions, which drive decisions and inspire action. Remember to craft your stories with a clear structure, making a beginning, a middle, and an end. Make your stories relatable by reflecting the experiences or challenges of your audience. Introduce conflict and resolution to highlight your message effectively, and always ensure your story aligns directly with the purpose of your presentation. Avoid common pitfalls like overcomplicating your story, using irrelevant anecdotes, being too informal or too formal, and ignoring cultural differences. By being mindful of these, you can refine your storytelling approach to be clear, engaging, and impactful. I encourage you to incorporate a well-crafted story into your next presentation. Observe how it captures attention, resonates with your audience, and enhances the overall effectiveness of your message. Thank you for tuning in to the Business English Podcast. We hope these insights help you become a more effective communicator. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a review. And until next time, keep practicing, stay focused, and of course, keep it strictly business.
You have been listening to the Business English Podcast. Remember to subscribe, leave a review, and we'll see you next time.